Let's jump in then. All right, what's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome to another Marvel Future Revolution. Today, I'm joined with Juicy Fruit. I love that name. It's funny. Juicy recently commented on one of my videos about the badges, these new badges for the Epic Invasion for Thanos. And obviously, we had a different opinion about the quality of these badges. I think we came at it with two different perspectives. But hey, being able to talk with people about the differences in the game is a good thing. So welcome, Juicy Fruit. Let's jump in. Let's start off with, what are your thoughts on the badges for this Epic Invasion?
For sure, man. Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it. So for me, is like the biggest thing was when I first started this game. I started on August 25th when the game launched. I wasn't there for soft launch or the beta, whatever. So for me, the getting 6-star badges was honestly so hard. Like the RNG was just terrible on them. So for me, we have a lot of new players coming in, and they just jump in and they can craft these 6-star badges that instantly ups their power, and they're ready to rock and roll.
I can respect that, because you know what, that is something that I'm not able to see maybe in some certain situations, where it's like, looking at it from that perspective, I can see where you're saying, like, yeah, it does give you that instant boost as a new player coming in. Just getting.
So that's my first point, is the free to play or a new player. That's my first point, is that they're awesome for those guys.
So I guess my only counter to that would have been, that is a good point. You know what, I missed out on thinking about that point about the new player who's just jumping in, who hasn't had access maybe to like the Magneto raid, jumping in and getting those. I guess the only difference in my opinion approach about it would have been, like, you know, like we're talking about the monetization of the game, right? And one of my big leaps on it was, if the free-to-play player gets in, he gets those badges, and it kind of creates a flat balance to the game where, you know, the veteran also jumps in and he gets those badges. Then it's just, I think that's a good atmosphere. I guess one of the main things that pissed me off was when we jump in that they started selling the badges. You know,
that's just awful. Yeah.
Or, you know, selling the chance at the badges, rather, because
I agree with your point there, because the free-to-play guy isn't going to be able to +1, +2 those at all.
And that was my thing, was that, like, you know, he's going to get in and he might maybe get, like, you know, +1 or +2, maybe on his badges, depending on how many runs he gets. But the whale who's been spending money is going to jump in, and he is going to collect so many badges from just wailing out on these dimension boxes, where they now have the
infinite,
right? Because now he can jump in. He still might be limited in the alloys that he can collect, but you know, he's gonna wail out on those badges essentially there. So I guess we have a difference of like perspective on that one, and I can respect your perspective on that one, because I still get it. I just don't like the way that Marvel, or the develops team for Marvel Future Revolution, has basically said, like, hey, we're gonna balance things, and we're going to give a balanced approach to the game. You want to decrease the gap, but then you monetize these badges.
So that's something I agree with you there. They say they want to decrease the gap, and then boom, these whales just have another way to up their power. Some people are at 3 mil now, and that's just crazy.
To me, that's just nuts that you literally have, like, we were on, like, so it was funny because I was digging back into, like you said, you were playing since August 25th, so you remember when Thanos Invasion first got released, and
first month,
the first month, right? And we got, like, the power cap there was like 1 million basically to jump in. It was like 900,000, I think, was like the minimum, and 1 million.
I think I could only do stage 4. I couldn't even do stage 5.
Right, and here we are, you know, not even 6 months later, and we've got the reintroduction of Thanos Invasion. So this is just the reused asset, and now we've got 1.7 million power requirement to jump in on those fifth stage events, 1.5 to begin with. And like you said, we've got players who are literally at like 2 and 3 million power. It's just ridiculous, which brings up the other point that I was like, you know, my other problem with the badges is the core system that's related to them. How do you feel about that? Like, because, like, do we disagree about that?
No, the core system, I agree with you. It's just RNG at the end of the day. You just got to get lucky, man. Like, for me, I got this one at +3, and it keeps rolling either with a yellow, and now it's got double blue. and I'm a Spidey, so double blue is somewhat usable, but I need some crit. Give me a red or a green.
And
so I'm now I got to grind for another week to plus this badge. It's like yikes.
Right, and this is my problem. My other problem with the badges is the RNG due to the core system, because back in November when the Eternals thing came out and we were all complaining about the core system there, how hard it was going to be to get a 6-star core, we now are looking down the barrel at they're introducing these new badges and we've got RNG cores still, and they still have not even addressed the cores at all. So like I've got like about 3 or 4 badges, and I'm not even gonna lie, I got 2 or 3 of them from that roll that I did on the video with just spinning inside the Dimension Shop. I got the 2 from the Omega Pass, and like you said, I've got blue red. I don't really need any blue as a Doctor Strange necessarily. I've got some double red, which is pretty decent, but losing out on that blue, that red green, which is like the god roll for the game, you kind of like feel kind of bad about it, because especially when you hit that like jackpot, like I got a red right now for my 1-star badge, and I'm like fearing,
that's usable.
Yeah, I'm like, this is usable, but I'm fearing like I'm fearing actually going up another level. Yeah, because then I'm like, okay, I lose out on my red. Yeah, all right. I don't know if I want to do
50% chance of getting double yellow there. It's pretty ridiculous.
And I've gotten a double yellow on one of them. I had a 4-star.
Yikes.
I had a 4-star, the 4th slot badge. It was double yellow. I ended up getting up to +2, and now it's got green yellow on it. And I'm like, it's got good stats. It was a guard damage decrease, a critical damage decrease, and it has the cooldown decrease on it. But it's green yellow. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with a green yellow. I could potentially put this on Captain America or one of my other players, but I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So you just mentioned the cooldown there. Let's go to my third point, which is going to be another positive point about these badges.
Okay.
Is you can roll cooldown on literally every single one.
You can. Now, I guess this is the point where I think maybe even Busy and you had the difference with me. And maybe I wasn't clear about it in the video. So like my difference on the cooldown being there was that I didn't feel like with all the layers of RNG that they've already applied to the badges that we should have a negative effect on a badge that we had to overcome.
Okay, so you're talking about the negative effect. So for me, to get the right cores, I've had to change my badges from +1 or +2 or +3, right? And so if you look at the badges that you have, if you equip a +1 and a +2, that negative effect isn't going to happen, and neither is the positive.
Right.
So you're just getting your cooldown, right, from the base roll on it or whatever.
And in that respect, I can see it, because like, yeah, you can go around ways to mitigate it, because like you said, if I get like,
and like for me, I'm not going to have them all at +1 with cooldown. I've had to change mine for the cores, right? So I got one at +2, I got one at +3, and I got 2 at +1. So they're all different. I'm not going to get the full bonus.
Right.
But they all rolled with cooldown for me, and I guess I got super lucky. But yeah, it upped my cooldown by like 15%.
So mine, I think I got, what did I get? I think I got 2 of them.
And I don't know if that's a bug. Like, I don't know if they wanted it to be, you have to have them all the same, like all +1 or all +2 to get the bonus effect. But it really does feel like it, like nobody's going to have them all at +1 or +2, right?
I don't think so, because I mean, like, I don't think we could get it in one event. I really don't think there's a way to get all 6, unless you've monetized it and you whale out. I don't think there's a way for you to really get all 6 badges at
+2
at
or,
+5 or like, I think anything. I think getting 6 badges at +1 is going to be a difficult thing for most pay to play or free to play players. I guess I had a bit of vitriol in me, because I'm seeing that we've got like 5 layers of RNG against the badges already.
Yeah, and like you said, so I have a full set of these badges, but I've had to change them from +1 to because the cores.
Right. And then what do you do when you get that badge to +5? and you end
Yeah,
up with, and you
I
end up
don't
with
even want
trash
to take it
cores.
that high. I'm not gonna try to take it that high.
And
My highest is +3. I don't even want to up it anymore.
Yeah, I don't even have one at +3 yet. I've gotten one good roll that to me was just godly, and I was like, okay.
I rolled a 6-star from the dimension boxes, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna fucking try to upgrade this one.
Yeah,
Because there's already 6-star. It was a free alloy,
and
it rolled double blue at +3. So now, I mean, it's usable for me, but I don't want to try and roll it up and get a yellow.
yeah, I mean, and that was my big thing is that like, so looking at it, I'm like, hey, look, I imagine that they have to give some kind of negative effect to the badge because of the fact that they have such a major attack bonus that's going to it. I mean, 12% attack isn't nothing to shrink away from. That's a lot, and that could represent a hell of a boost in terms of your total overall score.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's like 2 6-star fucking Omega cards.
Right, exactly. So it's a lot. But I guess my feeling on it is essentially that was bad development by this team who's already shown a preponderance for bad development choices. Like, could you not have given a more reasonable buff or, change the buff that was there so that way we didn't have to deal with a negative effect? Like, there was nothing to me wrong with the Magneto badges. I actually like the fact that, they put conditionals around the buff. Like, get your stamina's above 80%, you get the increase of attack. I get it was really specialized in that case, but clearly, like, Busy said to me, he goes, nah, these badges are meta. And I'm like, yeah, they're meta. They better be meta. It's the newest event. Anything new comes out is going to create the power creep that's obviously going to be meta. Like, that's just how.
To me, that pisses me off, though. They come out with these new badges, and then now Blitz and Dark Zone badges are just useless.
And exactly that brought me up to the other point, was that essentially, like, the easiest way for those free-to-play players to achieve badges at this point was to either play Omega War, play Dark Zone, or play Blitz, and they could get these badges. They've eliminated.
Yeah, I've already deleted all mine.
Like, there's no reason to carry any badges anymore below the level 120. Like, yeah. I mean, how many? So, like, let me ask you. So, you've been playing since August. How many times have you rolled for Dark Zone badges or Omega War badges and gotten?
I play it every day. I play Dark Zone every day. I'm pretty grindy on this game. I got all my alts max level, but I funnel everything to my main. So all my alts got nothing. They're empty, but they're all 120.
So that brings up the other question then, is what do you do now that they've changed course a little bit with these badges? Well, not just with the badges, but with the games, where it's no longer just going to be one character focus. You now have to build up a squad of characters, and you still got to work through this RNG for these new badges, these new invasion badges.
Yeah, that's a whole nother video, is trying to build other characters, but yeah.
So like that was, see, this is my problem with the game overall, is that and it's not just limited to the badges, it's the development decisions that they make, where they just throw things at us because it's content generation, but it doesn't look like they've charted out a course to properly, go. Like, I mean, I like that we can build up our characters over time as they reintroduce these invasion events. It gives them time to develop other things while keeping us busy. But at the same token, the amount of effort and the amount of time that it takes for us to get these badges with the applied RNG, that's what make the badges bad to me. It's not necessarily that the badges are meta or that I don't feel like they're meta. It's just that I feel like the amount of time and resources, like, I don't know about you, but I'm not within an area where I could invest in another character.
No way, man. I've only spent about $150 on this game. I usually only buy the battle pass, to be honest with you. But when Black Friday came around, I was like, shit, these deals are kind of good. I don't want to miss out. So I dropped like $100 on Black Friday, and then $10 on the battle pass each time. That's about $160 because there's been like 6 or 7 battle passes. But I'm a low spend, and I really don't see the point in investing in this game. I like grinding in games, so I wish they would give us a way to get more fodder, give us a reason to play the other characters.
Yeah, so like my one of the guys on my channel in the video, that matter of fact, the one I produced today, Hef, we were talking about the Moon Knight summons, and I posted a video about that one, and Hef made a comment on there. He was like, yo, I think that the companions boxes from Training Grounds also apply. So I went inside Training Grounds and tried to do that, and nope, it didn't work. So and then I went to the forum to double check, and I was like, yeah, it says so only through basically the summons events and the
polls.
festival.
The polls. So I saved some of my companion tickets. I always try and save my companion tickets. When Moon Knight dropped, I had like 30 companion tickets or whatever. Ended up pulling a couple of them, but yeah, I still probably won't finish that event, even from saving 30 tickets, right?
There's no way like I'm gonna finish that event. And so, but the point that he brought up is the point that I keep making with even like these badges, for instance. I don't mind that the invasion badges are, you know, set inside the invasion event. I actually enjoy the fact that they're there and it gives us time to do it. But when we come to other things in the game, I feel like there are better ways to do it that even the players are putting. Like, you know, that Moon Knight event where you have to gain all the summon tickets, you could have easily made that, you know, summon the companion, you know, 300 times or 300 to 500 times, and made it so that way players would use those training ground tickets that you're given if the boxes were applicable. So when I look at things like that, that's the bad part for me when I compare things, because everything seems to be centered around monetize first, think about the playing and the content second.
Yeah, I agree, man. I'm a grinder. I wish they would just give us ways to play the game, but they would limit you to the hour a day in your dailies, and how am I going to grind for gear? No, I can't.
Right, because like the Training Grounds, for instance, is the best example of that. I consistently said I don't understand the reason why we have a training ground in here when we could easily shift course to being like the training ground could have just been available in the normal area, and those drops and things like that for the badges and stuff like that, they could have been there. Those companion summon boxes, they could have been there, and we never had to have the training ground tickets at all.
Like every other MMO.
Like every other MMO. Like I don't know if you like Black Desert has a mobile game. I keep meaning to do a stream with that one, and they have the same thing in the air. Genshin Impact is another mobile game that's really popular in the same genre as this one is. Really, really popular in terms of that. But they set a standard, in my opinion, whereas to Marvel Future Revolution just isn't setting a standard, because they literally keep digging into the monetization well before they
can cater to the whales. I don't mind you catering to the whales, but give us grinders something too. Like, you can't just leave us in the dark.
Yeah, like I definitely
majority of your player base.
Yeah, I definitely
You're
don't
just leaving
mind
us in the dark.
And that's the
Pisses me
problem.
off.
And we're looking at those numbers. Like King recently did a video and he showed the downward trends, because like right now the game for the first time has been underneath $1 million in revenue in a month.
Yeah,
I can cater to the player, to the whales with certain events, like how this one is inside there with the dimension box tickets. But is that whale community really going to support the game over the longevity of this game? I'd rather get $10 from 1 million people than to get $10,000 from 2 people.
Yeah,
like that's.
I agree.
So like when I look at the badges, that was my main complaint inside here. My chief complaint is that I see the badges inside the mention box, and I know you're doing that to cater to the whale, but you're not giving me anything to cater to the free to play. Like telling me I can buy 100 tickets or 10 more tickets a week, you know, for 1,000 crystals isn't necessarily catering to, you know.
Oh, did you notice that too? So the last invasion, it was weekly, but if you look now on this invasion, it's only 10 tickets, man. Like, what the hell?
So I'm limited. Like I already feel like at this point, how many more alloys am I gonna really get if I just stick to, you know, the 3 per day that they give me? Like, how many more alloys am I really going to get? I don't think that most of us are going to end up with more than 6 or 7 alloys. So we'll get that
3 or 4 maybe.
Exactly. We'll probably end up with, like you said, most of the players will probably end up with, you know, maybe 3 or 4 badges that are at +1, +2. I think.
And they're all going to be different, so you're not going to have them all at +1 because you're going to try and change for those cores. You got to get the right cores.
Got to get the right cores, and and so heaven forbid that we end up, a year into this and we've got Epic Invasion 3 or 4 times, and then people finally hit that 5-star, that 6-star +5 badge, and end up with a double yellow, and are like, yo, this badge is fucked.
So at least we agree on that point, but there's some positive points about the badges still.
Yeah, and so it's like
very small.
Having all of that is the reason why I was so against the badges, is because when you take all of it into context and then you look at the badges, you go, why is there a negative effect? You've given me 5 layers of RNG. You give me all of these, long-term effects of me having to build this up in time. You tell me that the whales are going to get a more advantageous position than the free-to-play or the cheap-to-play players, and then we still got to deal with a negative effect on a badge. Whether it's easily overcome or not, to me, it just looks bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're giving the whales all the popcorn, man. I want some popcorn too.
Right, and like you said, just I don't mind giving the players a way to grind. So like these badges, for instance, like grind that shit out as much as you want to. If you want to jump in and play freaking, Invasion, 10, 20 times a day with the drop rates that they are, fuck it. Let the free-to-play players, be able to grind that 10, 20 times a day if that's what they want to do. And maybe they end up with 2, 3 alloys or something like that in there. But award the player that is actually sticking around and playing your game a lot. And then when you throw inside a feature like it's like, $8.99 for, 5, to get a chance at some alloys or boxes or dimension seals, then maybe a player's like, yo, well, I just grinded 10 times and I was lucky. I got an alloy. I need 130 seals. I'll purchase a $3.99 box that gives me a chance at getting maybe 150 seals.
Yeah, the whales don't care. The whales don't grind as much as us, man. The whales get on and they swipe their credit card, but the free-to-play guy sits there for 8 hours a day for what?
Exactly, because and even the whales have come to some point to realize that one of the bad parts about the game is like we just went through this stat rehearsal where the stats kind of changed what they meant, and so we ended up with negative effects where we were building out characters completely to one area. Now the focus of power has shifted because they changed up the way stats work. And that's what I meant by these badges. Yeah, they're meta for the moment, but for how long before they make another terrible decision? How long before the development team, I like to call them the JV dev team, because I feel like these decisions would not be made by a
it feels like their dev team is so small, man. Do they even play the game? Feels like they don't even play the game.
Judging from chilling with Danny Koo, no, they don't.
Is he a dev though, or is he?
No, he's not the dev. He's just the Marvel Games.
That's what. That's what.
So he's basically like the liaison. But I think he's had some devs on in the past, and it definitely didn't look like they played the game. I mean, if they told me they played the game.
Yeah, I'm used to other grindy MMOs where the devs tell you what's going on every month, and they tell you what's coming, and they tell you what they're updating, and they tell you what they're balancing. In this game, the devs are so silent, man. You don't know.
For months, and then IndieSun and Kyger and King. I remember when IndieSun got really hyped because CM Carroll was on the. She was inside the Discord and telling everybody that we're gonna address the problem. We're gonna address the problem, and they were hyped. And then we didn't get anything from them for over a month, and I'm like, I've never really played a game where the development team has been so freaking silent. And
are they just scared? Or I don't know. I feel like they're just scared.
To me, at this point, I'm like, Alice Park seemed like a nice enough person, but she definitely seemed clueless to the game and what the players were needing. I mean, all of it bears down to me, is the invasion bit fun? No, not really. It's just a rehash. So the only good
part
is
the last one.
Well, yeah, it's definitely better than the last one. I'm just thankful that I'm not having to put as much work as I did in when I played this back in October, November when it first came out. So it's definitely a lot easier to complete them on a daily basis. But Yeah, so I got another question. This is aside from the badges. I'm glad me and you got to talk about the badges and stuff like that. And let's,
For sure.
before we wrap this up, let's tilt off to one subject that I haven't really jumped into yet. I do want to jump into, especially since you're coming from a more free-to-play perspective, the Alliance raid.
Oh God. So the way they've built this game is I've had to crunch everything on my main in order to compete, and I've gotten pretty lucky. I've only spent about $150. Like you said, I'm around, let's look at my power now. I'm 1.72. So not bad for only $150 spent. I think that's pretty good. Not fully nanoed yet, nowhere even close. My helmet's still got 3 to go. My gloves 1, and my boots only have 1 red star, but my chest is done. But yeah, 1.7 mil power, playing since August 25th, and it just, if they want us to build other characters, man, they gotta go back to the fodder. Enough of these 1 to 2 star boxes at endgame, because it's doing nothing.
No, not when you need 10,000. Not when you need 10,000.
It's doing nothing. So now for me, I can swap these badges onto my other characters and get them around 6, 7, 8 power. So I could do the first couple of levels of Alliance raid, but no, I would have to fully invest in those characters, and it's just sad at this point.
Do you think you have? So like, and I mean that obviously comes with a lot, because it's not like the badges are available to your character without you having to unequip them from this character, carry them over
it's tedious.
there.
I gotta swap all my good cards. I gotta swap all my badges because all my ults are empty, man. I had to crunch everything on my main in order to compete.
Right, and that's
it's just fine. Like I get top 10 in Omega World, top 10 in Dimension Duel. I'm a Spider-Man, so he's kind of OP, but that's another conversation.
I trust me, there are days where I just legitimately want to, like, I start playing a game, I'm like, man, I could switch over to Spider-Man right now and be fine.
Oh, I feel like he's the only toon who can punch up 500k above him for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I can beat the guy on my server with 3 million power, and I'm 1.7.
So, how long do you think that this Alliance raid is going to keep the player base interested?
They got to do something about the rewards in the game. Like you said, it comes down to the fodder. If they give us ways to build other characters, then sure, it'll last longer. But right now, it's like I get on there, do it with my main, and whatever.
Yeah, because I can, like, to be truthful, I can only run this once a day. I have one main. My Spider-Man is probably the closest character that I had to do it. I would have to spend all the tedium to just switch things over. And I'm pretty sure as a development team, that's kind of their intentions for me not to be able to switch things over, because obviously they're trying to monetize that effort even more by making us have to purchase more things with these characters. But when you look at it, and you go, it took some of these whales $10,000+ to invest in it, but where it took like a grinder like you months to hit that 1.72.
Yeah,
do you have time?
8 months now.
Yeah, 8 months.
Now,
do you have time to redivert resources to another character?
No, when the game is in the state it is.
Especially when they're power creeping stuff already. Like, I mean, we're 8 months in, and we've gone from the first invasion.
3 mil, like you said.
Yeah,
3 mil now.
3 mil is the power level now because of the power creep. I'm like, where is this going ultimately? Like, how far is that? I don't know. It's definitely going in a weird direction to me, and that was one of the things. Well, I'm glad that we were able to kind of, like, suss that out and get some general consensus on things, because context is always important. I guess the last thing we jump on with here is, who do you think is going to be the next character that they're releasing?
Oh, so everybody said it was going to be Wanda, right? Because they released that on April 1st. They came out with this Hex thing, red. Everyone thought Wanda. So my thing is, I think they came out with it on April Fool's. Fool you guys all think that it's Wanda, and I'm hoping that it's going to be Deadpool. They said there was going to be more mutants. I would like to see Deadpool.
I know everybody is saying Deadpool. Would you be excited for a Deadpool? Would you switch from your main right now to a Deadpool?
Like you said, man, it comes down to that monetization level. If they change the core base to the game, change all the rewards to make it possible for me to build that character by grinding, then sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where I'm
But I'm
at
not
too.
gonna
Like,
switch and spend 10 grand to get him up to my Spidey.
right, exactly. Like to catch, there's no way that I'm switching from. I can't carry two characters. I think Wolverthor brought it up even better. Is that he pointed out that even with the whales spending, unfortunately, there's no way really to achieve specialization.
And I think they did that. Like they sort of addressed the fodder situation. If you look at the new monthly login, that's a little increase. A little bit more crystals. You get a 5-star region selector now.
Yep.
That's a selector box.
That's a good one.
So it's not bad, but it definitely needs to be better, man. Like, why am I still getting 1 to 3-star boxes for most wanted in training grounds? Even it shows a 4-star box. I've never gotten one.
No, I've never seen a 4-star in there. I've gotten a 2-star box a couple of times.
Why are you showing it then? Why are you showing me that?
Yeah, the 5-star region box is nice, but when you consider how much it takes you to get from 5-star to 6-star, you're basically talking about 4 months there to get one character fully equipped. 4 months.
For me, as a grinder, on average, I get about 1 nano per month. So you do the math.
No, I'm with you there. The only way I've skirted even the nano system to kind of accelerate it was.
That's getting top 10 in Omega War, Dimension Duel, getting those crystals, and just spending them on costumes.
I so stopped fighting for that one too. But I remember.
Well, you're in a Kraken server, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm on. Exactly. I'm on.
What server are you on?
I'm on Omega Flight. So.
Oh yikes!
There's no way I'm keeping up with the top Krakens that are on my server. So I just gave up at that point. It was like there's no point in trying to keep up with them. I'm just gonna play the game and enjoy it for what I can enjoy it for, which is essentially what I'm doing.
It's the Alliance raid. I think I would enjoy it a lot more if there was fodder in the game where I could build my other characters.
Yeah, I thought that the Alliance raid should have been a good place to put the rewards for like maybe
Alliance raid,
those 5-star region costume boxes and stuff like that. Like there definitely needs to be more ways, because looking at 4 months to get a 5-star piece, because that's not even what we need for the end game. We need 6-star pieces of gear. To 5-star pieces once a month. Not to mention, like you said, that means that I'm taking away opportunities to nano my other heroes, and you're just you're basically showing at this point. And this is the problem that I have, is they are showing at this point that they have more of an interest in power creeping the game to keep up with the whales versus power creeping to keep up with the free-to-play players. So even the game content is kind of like outpacing the free-to-play players, so like you're basically when you came out with 1.7 million, I mean, how many free-to-play players jumping in right now are going to be able to hit that 5-star stage? Like, I mean,
no, I think Andy's only at 1.4.
Yeah, and he's playing free-to-play though, right?
Yeah,
I thought he was going free-to-play. So like you're putting a lot of the content outside the range of where a lot of players can grab onto the game. So like the Alliance raid, I think that's going to be the biggest limitation for some of the whales, because you got to level up multiple characters. Doesn't make a difference that you have 50 players in your alliance. You're going to have to level up multiple characters, and I don't see a way for us to play this content that they plan on coming out in their current monetization and drop rate efforts.
You guys have enough content in the game now. Fix what you have.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I agree with you 100% on there. And let's start with the
Blitz
goddamn
and Dark
cores.
Zone are now completely useless. Why am I running those at endgame? Why?
There's absolutely no reason to run. I really feel like Dark Zone and Training Grounds should be collapsed into just the normal world. Like collapse both of those efforts.
Well, I enjoy the idea of a PvE, PvP type area, but that's just me. But I mean, I would just like them to fix it.
I enjoy it too, but they could just make it so that way, like, for instance, Black Desert Online, figure that shit out forever ago. The whole world is a PvP environment, and all they did was you've got a little button. You've got a little button that you toggle on that says you're willing to PvP. and and that's it. You PvP as long as you've got the button on, so nobody can grief you. You know, if they do,
If you wanted to farm, you could just farm. Yeah,
you can just farm underneath your PvE, and you can just run. So you PvP when you want to, especially now that they're adding in, you know, other ways for us to PvP, which I had said a while back. The squad battle PvP is coming. They've got the you know, the friendly PvP now, and we've got Omega War, and we've got Alliance Omega War. So we've got multiple areas players can PvP in. So just give us the PvE content all in one place, so that way we can just farm and we'd be happy about it. You know?
Yeah, we were crying for this PvE content for months, and they come out with this Alliance raid where you need to build your alts. You gotta spend now. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's too much. It's outside the range, in my opinion.
You guys have enough content. Fix the fodder in the game is the main thing, and maybe I want to build another character.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Well, thank you, Juicy, for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Like, you know, it's always great to get another perspective. And it's really weird because, you know, YouTube is one of those things where it's almost like talking on a phone or a text message. You don't know what another person means or saying without context. So never take offense to anything I say on there. I just, to me, it's all great views, positive or negative, one way or the other. So I really appreciate it, man. Guys, go check out Juicy Fruit's channel. Juicy, if you want to drop what the channel name is, go ahead.
Appreciate it. It's just MrJuicyFruit123.
Yep. So there you guys go. Go over and take a look at Mr. JuicyFruit123 and see what he's got going on over there, and make sure that you support other content creators, so that way we can keep creating content for this game, so that way we generate word of mouth. Until next time, guys. Peace.